Dennis, how are you?
Yeah, I'm very fine.
Now, I know these people do not know something. Let me just say something about Dennis. Dennis is a dear friend of mine. He was my roommate in campus and a friend for many years. And I'm so happy that he was able to join us here tonight. And so I'm looking forward to see what this meeting will hold. Karibu sana Bwana Dennis. You can proceed.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jambi, for great introduction and for moderating the session. And I hope everyone can hear me. I'm so happy to be part of today's session and just to facilitate and also share my experience with you and to discuss something that I'm very much passionate about and something that I've practiced. But what I'll be sharing today will borrow heavily on some of the things that you already know. But my role today is to remind you and maybe just to amplify some of these things that you are. Maybe briefly about myself, and then we'll pick it up from there. I'm as it has been said, I'm a communications specialist, and that's what I do for a living. And I have also interest in public policy as an area where I'm also building my expertise in. I've been a bit fortunate to have a cross-industry experience working in different industries. And this has helped me gain some of the experience I'll be sharing. And I'm also interested in farming, technology, and also photography. I am born again, and I'm also married to one wife, and we are blessed with 2 children. I currently work as a consultant, and also recently we founded a college called Ubunifu College, which is an IT-related college. So that's briefly about myself. You can ask me other questions as we go about. As we said, today's session, I want us to be very interactive as possible so that we can be able to share the experiences that we have. In the course of my presentation and leading this discussion, I just will be using a PowerPoint. Don't worry if you may be joining by phone, you won't miss anything. This will just be for illustration, and I can share this later. But there's one question Jambi had asked maybe before I came in, which I wanted to ask again and just ask us at a personal level. And now, fortunately or unfortunately, Jambi will also be expected to answer, so that I just know what is the expectation. And as we respond to this question, I also will be welcoming you to engage also through the chats as we talk. And also you can continue sharing about this information on what we are sharing here with your networks. There are people who are still joining from different parts. So that's how we'll proceed. So perhaps I could just ask you in one line, you just tell me what exactly you are expecting from the session today. Just everyone.
Yeah, hi, Dennis.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can hear me from this end.
Yes, I can.
Just to confirm. Okay, good. So thank you very much. Indeed, it's an honor to join you and the team on this call. I actually saw it a bit late. I think I saw it like 10 minutes to time. And then I just thought, oh, this is really a great discussion to join and learn. So personally, I know there's a lot we can do by just being effective communicators in our workplaces, in ministry, in many other areas, even in our families, the people that we interact with. And for me, I'm just looking forward to know, how do I create more impact in the areas in my day-to-day interactions, the people that I interact with? Because also, just to mention something, is that I've learned that the people who've really exerted a lot of impact in my life, or influence rather, is those people who spoke a word to me. It's not even those people who give me something like tangible. It's those people who really uttered a word to me, and those words really meant a lot to me, and they went a lot along to inform most of the decisions that I've made in my life. So I think that's the line that I'm looking forward to learn from, and it's really great to be here at this time. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, William. Welcome. Anyone else? I think everyone will just say a line in terms of what they expect.
Maybe I could go.
Yes.
Okay. I think for me, when I looked at just the heading of the topic, make your voice count. Just wondering, we have so many platforms, online platforms nowadays. Back in the day, we used to depend on certain platforms, but now everyone has an opportunity to voice. Yeah. But then again, even as we voice, whatever it is that we desire to voice, how effective are we able to impact the lives of others when we are, making our voice count? So I would really want to know the effectiveness of voicing my communication, and that would really help me a lot. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Techno Prio 3. Dan or Belinda?
And I also want to declare that I.
Hello? Belinda? Yeah, I think we'll just proceed. I hope everyone can hear me. If you're not able to talk, just put a comment on the chat, and I'll be able to see as I make the introductory remarks. I'll just share my screen, and that should not really worry you. If you're not able to see it, it's just a guide I'll be using, and I will not use it entirely. But those who will be able to see, you'll be able to follow. But I can assure you I will be able to talk through it very well, so that we are all on the same page. So the topic today is about making your voice count, and having effective communication. I've already told you about myself, what I do and how I do it. I wanted to begin this session today with a quote, which I don't know who said it, but the quote says that you are under no obligation to remain the same person you were a year ago, a month ago, or even a day ago. You are here to create yourself continuously. I'll repeat it. It's you are under no obligation to remain the same person you were a year ago, a month ago, or even a day ago. You are here to create yourself continuously. This is a call for everyone, including myself, towards self-improvement. And the topic that we have today is a tricky topic, because at one point, there's no point where you say that you have actually attained the fullness of being a good communicator. It's something that it's an area of improvement in the life of every human being. And this is because of the ever-changing context of our lives. This may include in school, this may include in workplace, this may include in your business, even at the family level. Things are always changing. So it is upon you to work hard to be able to put yourself in an area of self-improvement. And one of the questions or one of the challenges that we normally face is answering the question of, how do I improve myself? Because everyone always puts themselves into a situation whereby they feel like they are already actualized and they do not need to either acquire new knowledge or change the way they do things. And this might be an issue of culture, on how we've been brought up, how we predisposition our minds, because there are people who are generally very hard to take new ideas or to implement new concepts, because they have already conditioned their minds in a certain way. So however much you repeat the same thing, they're not able to get it. And also it might be how we have been cultured, maybe in the school we went to, maybe the family we were brought into, the town we grew up with, and we expect things to be in a certain way. But those people who have been able to make a difference in the world and even in themselves are the people who have been courageous to take up new stories, new narratives, and be able to modify the way they do things, how they receive information, how they take feedback, and be able to interpret that and incorporate that in their lives to be able to improve. And this is something that has really defined the course of humankind. And it does not matter who you are and where you've come from, but those who have been able to adopt this have been able to put their life in a new trajectory. So even as we discuss this topic today, I would like you to remember that last bit of this statement, that you are here to create yourself and continuously. So in other words, you are in a process of unlearning, you're in the process of learning, and you're in the process of relearning. Those are the three aspects. So you unlearn, you learn, and you relearn. Unlearning is whereby you are able to discard or do away with things which do not no longer add value to you. They no longer add value to your business, to your career, to your being self. Unlearning. And unlearning is one of the hardest things to do for any human being. It is a process, but it's a process that begins with a decision. So provided you've made the decision, even if it takes long, you will eventually achieve it. If you have never decided, you will always be pushed. And when you're pushed, you'll always be feeling like those people are annoying you, or you are not really happy about it. Learning is also a decision that you have to make. And this is mostly on how you are able to receive new knowledge. You're able to go beyond what is known. And I think if you hear the new tagline of Safaricom, where they're saying they're going beyond limits, it's such an example. You cannot learn if you are only in your comfort zone. Learning must stretch you. Learning is painful. Learning is uncomfortable. And learning is not something that goes in a linear path. Then the third thing that I've talked about is about relearning. There are those things that worked. There are those things that you've forgotten, but they are nuggets, or they have value points which you have ignored, or you no longer take them seriously, and you might have forgotten them. So you need to go back to the basics and recollect yourself and be able to put yourself in a trajectory of doing those things that you used to do that make you tick. All these are aspects that not only touch on communication, but these are aspects that touch across life, no matter who you are, where you are, and what you do. So I thought that will be something that is very interesting for us to start off the session today. I'm seeing a message from Iska. She's saying she's following. Dan is saying he is using Zoom for the first time and is learning how to talk, how to use it, and looking ahead for the insight. And I think that is very good. I think he is already doing the learning that we talk about here. So I don't know how many people can see my screen, but I have an interesting image there. One is, I don't know who can see it. I don't know how many people can see it. If you can see it, you can just put your thoughts on the comment, what you can see, what you think it's about, and I'll be able to tell us what comments are coming up. Just mention your random thoughts on what you're seeing on both the photos and what you think they mean to you. Anyone?
Let me try.
Yeah, it's not an exam.
Yeah, it's not an exam. And there is no right or wrong answer, right?
Correct.
Okay, the first picture is, it says, your lack of communication disturbs me. Actually, the person who points the finger, to me, looks like the person who's actually has a lack of communication. Yeah, and it's very scary, like, someone pointing at you saying that their lack of communication disturbs them, yet they look like they're not the one, they're actually not communicating. Then the other one, the single biggest problem in communication is the illusion it has taken place. I think it's the misunderstanding of what one person is saying and what the recipient is receiving, we always seem to have a collusion. Like everyone has their own idea of what has been communicated, and the illusion that that communication, it's actually an assumption. I would say that you have communicated, but someone probably might not have grasped it.
Yeah.
But those two pictures are very complex, by the way.
Exactly. I think you've, Jambi, you've put it so well. Exactly. So if you think about these pictures and look at the world, ideally, most of the conflict that happens in the world are not because of people do not like, or it is because of people have power. Like I will say 90% of all the conflict that happens, they are all related to the issue of communication. At some point, it's the lack of communication. At some point, it's the illusion that you have communicated sufficiently, which in most cases, you have not. So that in itself creates a real loophole for conflict to happen. And this is the dilemma that happens. And if you're running a business, and I don't know how many people are running a business here, you may think that you are engaging with your customers in a better way. And because you're seeing they come every day, every morning, they come to your shop to buy milk. And by so doing, you get the impression that your engagement with them is very well. And even in a company, or even in a school, all these are the dilemma that we have. And with the coming of social media, this has even been further compounded. You've seen someone posting something and people reacting in a certain way, or people behaving differently with what you expect from them, depending on what they are writing. So social media has brought in personalities that we now have different, what we call dual personalities. The people that we know the way they are, and people who live in social media. And this has further compounded how we interact, because with the social media coming on board, how we communicate and how we live our lives has been disrupted. In many quarters, many people want to live the life that they see others live without working for it, without ever putting effort for it, not knowing that those pictures, those videos that we see are only showing good moments. But behind that, there are many things that maybe those people are struggling with, maybe things they need to work on, and maybe things that are not really there. So we're really putting our best feet out, but behind it, there is a lot of things that we do not know. So we start desiring those kinds of lifestyles without knowing. Why? Because it is an illusion. It is an illusion. And with every point of communication, there is always an assumption. And the assumptions happen because of our past interactions and our biases that we bring to the table. And I'll tell you a story about two people who once they came from different tribes, and then they got married. The guy was from the lake, and he was someone who really loved to eat fish. And every time he could tell the wife that he really craves to eat fish, and the wife could make the best fish that she could imagine. But what happened, every time they cooked this fish, this guy was always very mad, and there would be conflict in that house. And he never wondered what was the problem. So this became a real issue until at some point they had to seek help externally. And later it emerged that the issue was not really the fish. Where this guy grew up in, like what the wife used to cook, he used to wonder why does she cook fish and divide the fish. He cut the fish into two. That is a concept that really he did not really understand. And the issue here was that where this lady grew up, the mother had a small pan, and because of having a small pan, she was always forced to cut the fish into two so that the fish could fit in and get ready. But according to her, she thought that the mother was cutting the fish into two so that it is well cooked. So even when she got married, she knew that fish, for you to cook fish, you have to cut it into two. But this man knew that fish is always served in full. So he could never understand why this lady was cutting the fish into two. So when they came to notice this, and what was interesting that when they got married, their pan was even bigger, it could just fit. So this was a communication problem, but it had cost them many problems. Why? Because of the assumptions that were there. So many times we communicate in our business, in our places of work, in our families, but we carry assumptions. And these assumptions are what we call in communication noises. There are other noises that maybe are in our psychological part, on our mental part, that prevent effective communication from happening. You might be meeting someone and you've already formed opinions about them. So however much they will say things which may impact your life, things which may help you even know the direction, you already know this person is always drunk. So no matter what they do, you will feel like, it is not sufficient to give you a solution. So that is one challenge that we face as human beings in the course of our lives as we engage. And this is also a dilemma that we have to do. So my aim today is to challenge you and to bring you to a point of knowing these issues and really reflecting upon your life. Remember about the three things we started with. We are unlearning, we are learning, and we are relearning. Why? Because we want to make our voice known and we want to be effective communicators. Now, I've just moved to another slide, and the questions that this slide, I'm calling it the questions that we must answer. The first question that we must answer towards effective communication, one is, who are you? The second question is, what do you do? The third question is, why should we care? The fourth question is, what is my preference? The fifth question is, can you help me? And these questions, maybe I've not read them very well, but the first question, when you say, who are you? Most people normally look at it from the sense that, how can you help me? If I say I am Dennis and I'm so-and-so, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this. What is in your mind is, okay, so how is that useful to me? So what? People always ask that question, so what, without saying it. Oh, I am the MP from this place. Oh, I went to Alliance. Oh, I went to this place. So what? Human beings are predispositions to that point. So, well, defining who you are, or by defining who you are in your business, you are answering a very important question that rings into the mind of your audience. Your audience will be looking for a point of connection with you. So it's very, very much important, every point where you are, to be able to today, This question is also otherwise what we call the brand. Everyone, every entity has a brand. This forum that we're in today has a brand. It has its unique identity, and that is who you are. Everyone has their own uniqueness. And this brand, someone may say, oh, you know me, I'm not a brand because, you know, I don't have a logo, I don't have a poster and everything. No, that is very wrong. Every day as you wake up, as you go about your business, there are things you're communicating without talking and with talking. There is someone whom you know that any place, whether it is a football match, whether you're in a party, you know this person will always show up in a suit. There are people you know who, even if the dress code looks like what, they will never show up in that dress code. There are people you know that even if a meeting is silent at how, there will always be loud. Even if people are whispering, they will be the loudest. That is their brand. That is how they are known. And they don't need to speak. The people that you know, when they just appear within 30 seconds, 30 minutes, people will have to have conflict. That is how they are. But the question where people are looking for to connect is how can they get help from you? How can they get value from you? So by you knowing your brand, you're able to know how you can position yourself so that they can connect with you. And if they can connect with you, it means that they can be able to understand your message. They can be able to understand you, and you can be able to connect. And I will say, like in social media, there are people that they're in your friends list and you really don't want to engage with them because maybe you never like politics, but every time these people are always posting about politics, or these people are abusive, or they're using a certain language. But there are some people who they're always sharing things which are making you grow. Because why? They've already positioned their message towards that. And if you know yourself, you will always know what you want to position. And there are people who really, you cannot really identify with something. Today they're talking about farming, tomorrow they're in politics, they're really what? For you to attract value, you have now to know who are you. And when you know who are you, you'll say, this is what I am good with. Many people I've interacted with, and I'm always discouraging it. They always say, oh, you know me, I'm always not good at this. I'm not always good at this. Many people introduce themselves like that or put themselves in such a situation. But if you ask them, what are you good in? They cannot answer. But they want to tell you how they're not efficient. They are not knowing what they're doing. They're not sure. They're new in this town, you know? And the world, unfortunately, is not looking for such people. The world looks for people who, yes, they're new in this town, but they know one street and they know it so well. Yet you don't position that. So each and every one of us has something they're good in. So position that thing. Let that be your selling value. Let's say that you do not know how to bake cakes, but you know how to make mandazis well. Speak about the mandazis that you know so well, and let people define you by that. That if you want the best mandazis here in Nakuru, this is the best person to go with. The second question is, what do you do? And it's coming back to the example I was giving about mandazi. People want to connect with experts. People want to connect with quality. People want to connect with people who are efficient. Like, oh, you want mandazi for your birthday? I can make it in the next 2 hours. You know, there are people, they will say, oh, I'm good in mandazi. But when you say, and I want mandazi, oh, now, you know, you've not sent me money for unga. Oh, you know, you will have bought eggs. Oh, you will have alert me. You've ambushed me. But you said this is what you do. This is what you are good in. But me, I want mandazi. I don't want you to take me into business of baking powder, what. I get tired of all those things. I want someone who will deliver mandazi, and this is the price. So always show yourself as a pro in what you are good in. Exemplify yourself as that person that people will always run to for solution. The whole world is looking for solution. Companies are looking for solution. Businesses are looking for solution. Schools are looking for solution. So are you one person that people can run to get solution? And for me, I'll tell you personally, it's something that has worked for me. Anywhere that I've worked, I'm always want to be the best, but does not mean that I'm the best. I go to places where people are more even in terms of qualifications, they're better than me, they're experienced better than me. But in any place I enter to, my idea is always to be a point of influence. And this is something that is very tricky. As you aim to do this, I can tell you, you'll make enemies. People will not like you. People will say, oh, this person is a Kimbelembele person so much. That should never discourage you, provided you are not undermining anyone, you're not disrespectful, you are building your brand, you're showing yourself strong. And being a pro is about showing up. I always want to be in the room whereby when they say, oh, who can lead us in a prayer? Who can talk about this? Who can help us? We need 3 strong people to carry a bench. I want always to be among them. Why? Because I'm opening doors for opportunities. And why am I doing that? Because I'm communicating my brand, because I want to show myself that my brand is that is efficient. My brand is one that is available. My brand is about one that is reliable. You can always count on me. The other thing that you should answer is, why should we care? Why should we care? Why should we care that you're all these things? We should care because you are able to connect, and people are able now to come to you and talk to you. Because what people will always ask to know is, so what? So what can we do next? Can we call you? Can we invite you for coffee? Can we be able to invite you for lunch? Can you come and give us a talk? Can you come and share with us experience? And that is how you start getting opportunities. You don't start getting opportunities or breakthrough when you are where you are. You cannot get your breakthrough if you're just staying at home and expecting miracles. You cannot get these opportunities if you're just at your comfort zone and then expecting miracle. It does not work. You have to really give people an opportunity to connect to you. Let your audiences be able to touch the value that you can give. They always want to know what next. So that's why for everything that you are doing, every communication that you are doing, it must have a call for action. A call for action is whereby after saying the many things or doing the many things that you're doing, you are inviting people to participate. I've seen many people selling things, maybe they're selling shoes, they're selling whatever they're selling, and even in social media, in WhatsApp, in Facebook and what, they just post so many photos, then they say thank you. Now, there's no call for action. One, there is no price, because I feel if they put price, I don't know, it's just a poor way of advertising. And for any time I see such a thing, I do not even bother. I go to the next thing. Why? Because why are you sharing photos for us? If you are selling clothes, why is it that you don't want to put your contacts, you don't want to put the price, you don't want to put the contacts? Then again, you're not telling us to buy. You're not telling us to call you, you're not telling us, tell people something that you want them to do. If you want them to buy, if you want them to call you, if you want them to join you, tell them. That is the call for action. And that is a very important aspect for any communication. If you're making a poster for maybe you're welcoming people for your birthday, you're welcoming people for this webinar, you must tell people to join. You must tell people to participate. You must tell people to give feedback. Anytime that you are not getting feedback, you can be knowing that the communication process is not happening. Yeah. And feedback may come in very many ways. Feedback may be positive and be negative. And you must put yourself in a position to accept all manner of feedback, good and bad. And you have to reflect on it to say that this ideally is something I need to change. This is something that I need to adopt. This is something that I need to either modify or I need to clarify. And by that, you continually improve yourself. But there are people who take feedback in a very bad way and they see it as a personal attack. And that really hinders what they can become and how they can grow. And you see that in many organizations. There are people who really take, and if you're not really sure about the feedback or it's making you feel in a certain way, take time to reflect, then revisit the issue to seek clarity. And by so doing, you are able now to really connect. I'm just seeing some of the comments that are coming up on the chat. I'll maybe just revisit some of them in the due course, so that I don't leave you behind. I'm moving very fast because of time. I'll just pick, and I think I like how you guys are participating in terms of summarizing some of the key highlights. And I like one comment from Sally. She's saying that I think the reason why we shy off showing what we're approaching is to shield ourselves from being seen as Kimbelembele. I totally agree with this, and Jambi, because you feel you will offend people. Time to unlearn this one. Thank you for that. I'll just pick randomly again, be a brand, confidentiality, and allow feedback to grow, whichever way. Thanks so much. Continue participating. I'm following up on the chats also. And it's a good conversation. If you want to speak verbally, also do not hesitate. As I said, that we want to make this interactive as possible. The fourth question that we need to think about is about what is my preference? And preferences here are the things that we've adopted about our lives. And it's not really our mistake. It's maybe how we've been brought up, which town we've been growing in. There are people, let's say you grew up in a place where there's a question about how people cook. Maybe where you are brought up, people cook vegetable first, then they cook ugali. In another family where you brought up, they cook ugali first, then they cook vegetables. In other families where they were brought up, when you want to make tea, they put sugar maybe when the tea is in the cooking pot, or tea is brought without sugar and people add it on the table. And these things build certain preferences in us. So we started to prefer things in a certain way. We start preferring that we should be communicated to in a certain way. And this also brings what we were talking about earlier. It affects how we communicate. It affects how we interact with others. It affects how we carry these assumptions and biases into the communication process. And this is what we call as noise. So whether you are selling, whether you are teaching people, whether you are preaching, whatever you are doing, this is a noise and will always affect you. And sometimes you may even fail to listen. And one of the challenges about this is that it blocks your ears, your inner ears, in terms of listening, because you've already put yourself in a certain way. So even if what that person says and you don't want to listen, you will never listen. And that person will always feel like, oh, you are not listening what I'm saying. Oh, I'm always repeating myself about this. Immediately that happens, already see there is already a problem. And this happens in all aspects of life. Why? Because of these assumptions about how we have already predispositioned our minds. And this affects even companies. There are companies that you will wonder if they really listen and watch. But these companies have customer service, they have customer care, and you will always be so frustrated, especially with banks. But there are companies you communicate and you feel like, oh, they really feel that they don't want to lose this customer. There are companies who do not care. The customer care will call you, then they say, we'll get back to you. Then you'll call back again tomorrow. Oh, we'll get back to you. We know that issue. We know that issue. We know that issue. Someone is working on it. The reference number is 347C. Oh, you call again. Why? This is how they prefer to do their business. And this, in the end, start bringing their brand value down, and they start losing their customers. The most important question now is, where do I start? Ask yourself, where do I start? And I think in one of the comments I've seen there, someone says that it is now time to unlearn. There is no other time, or there's no other better way. Is the point where you've discovered that these are the things I need to work on. Start working on them. Start working on them. There is someone who's microphone is on, just unmute unless you want to speak. I'll give you an opportunity. So the best part about this is to discover when you really need to begin. And the time to begin is when you've discovered that there are things you need to work on. And everyone is a work in progress, including myself. And you should not shy to really desire to become a better person. But do not desire and you're not doing something. You're just sitting there and expecting miracle. Miracles even require work. You have to prepare yourself. You have to put yourself into a certain way. And this is how you are able to add effectiveness to your brand. This is how you even make yourself a voice. And making yourself a voice, what exactly does it mean? Remember, we say that you're appearing as a pro, and making your voice known is you are able to influence thoughts and processes. A thought, by influencing thoughts and processes, you're becoming a thought leader. A thought leader is someone, when you say, if I want to begin a chicken business, you say, oh, no, I cannot begin a chicken business if I've not spoken to William, because William is known because of chicken business. And it's not that because he's the best farmer in Kenya, no. He's just operating in Eldoret, but the way he is positioned his business, he might not even be having many chicken. He might be only having 200, and me, I'm in Kajiado, and I'm having 1,000 chicks. But how William has positioned his business with his 200 chicken, he has positioned himself as a pro, he has positioned himself as a thought leader, he has positioned himself as a solution. If you want feeds, this is where you go. If you want the medicine for the chicken, this is where you go. If you want to build a house, this is where. So William is known in Eldoret and is gaining more value and is able to influence people, is able to get more customers. And for me, in my 1,000 chicken in Kajiado, I'm always posting on Facebook, do you know someone who can buy chicken? I have ready chicken that are here. So I just send people photos and people wonder, these photos, are you selling chicken or are you happy with the chicken? We don't really know. Why? The issue about these 4 questions. So I want you to really reflect on these 4 questions and also think around what we need to do. Thinking about the questions is not sufficient, but what are you doing about it? Now, I've moved to another slide, and the reason why I've moved to this other slide, we want to answer the question, why do we need to aspire to grow? Remember that we are aiming to make ourselves or make our voice heard. And we're doing this through unlearning. We are learning and we are relearning. And we've already asked ourselves 4 important questions. Yeah. And the 4 important questions, we've said, who are we? What do we do? Why should we care? And what are our preferences? Yeah. And these are the things that will positioning us for growth. Out of this, from this forum, I want you to look at yourself and only pick on 1 or 2, 3 issues that you think have been holding you down. And I want us to position ourselves for growth. That is why we are putting this up. And I think when Isaiah was thinking about this program is about positioning yourself for growth. And growth, what happens when you grow? When you grow is where you are able to have capacity to adopt new things. You have capacity to develop new concepts. You have capacity to build new networks. You have capacity to begin new things. You have capacity to even take information that you could not take before. And I always give an example. If you give a 2-year-old 1,000 shillings, most likely they will not take it. Why? Because they have not built capacity. But if you give them 50 shillings, they already know 50, I'm going to buy 2 lollipops. The other 10 shillings, I'm going to buy mandazi. The other 10 shillings, I'm going to buy patco. The other one, I think I'm going to buy banana. You know, they can already calculate it. But 1,000, you will say, oh, uncle, uniweke hiyo nitachukua siku ingine. It is so big to them. And that is the problem that happens. Some of the things are not happening in our lives because of how we position ourselves. You find that when you really want to grow, you really want to succeed. But if you imagine that someone can give you 10 million, you cannot even talk where you are. But inwardly you are saying, nikipata 10 million, my life will really change. Ndafungua business hapa, ndafanya nini. But you have not built the capacity to attract that money. So even if you are given 10 million, the first thing that you will do will be to call a chama meeting and say, guys, you know what? I've received a 10 million. Can you guys give me ideas on what you can do? And I see this in many times in Facebook. Someone say, guys, I have 100,000. Can you guys suggest for me a business I can do with 100,000? Then me, I'm always just saying 100,000, 50,000. So you will see people in different kind of things. And this is an issue of growth. And that is why we need to grow. The businesses cannot attract. Your business is always, there are some businesses since you're young, it's always just selling sugar and sweets and what, since you've known them for the last 5 years, but they have a very big name. Yeah. Some football teams, they are calling themselves Manchester United, where in Webuye. It shows you that they really have no aspiration that one day they will meet. They are so sure they will never meet the real Manchester United. So they're okay with that name. Yeah. So even how, and that now comes to the issue of branding. Yeah. Who are you? Who do you want to become? Who do you want to react to interact with? Yeah. What value do you want to give? How do you want to do it? Those are some of the questions that we need to look. And remember, I reminded us when we're talking about brand, today we are addressing you, the person. Think of yourself as a business. Think of yourself as me, Dennis. I am Safaricom. I am carrying a brand. Safaricom, even now at night when there is no advert, where in your shopping center, when you pass, you will see the green and you'll see M-Pesa. It is communicating something. It is communicating something. Whether they talk or not, whether you are walking in the streets, there's something you're communicating about your brand. When you open your mouth, there's something you're opening about your brand. And growth will always tell you that your brand is going in the right direction. Your brand is communicating the right things. Your brand has a positive message to the society. Your brand is giving people hope. Your brand is changing narratives. Your brand is changing people towards discovering their purpose. And that is what we are all called for on this earth. As simple as that. You don't need to be born again or not born again, but that is what God made us on this earth to be a solution. So that is why we are growing. So number one is about effective brand messaging. And remember, Dennis is working, whether he's in Nakuru, he's in Mombasa, he is a brand. Whether he's posting on Facebook, he is a brand. Whether he's not posting on Facebook, he is a brand. Effective brand messaging goes beyond what you say, what you write, what you do. When you dress, when you leave the house in the morning, you are living with something that maybe some mangoes in okay, people dress those things. I'm not really judging, but as you walk to the house, what do you want to see? Do you want people to say, oh, this guy might be a professional, this guy maybe he's working in a bank, or maybe he must be working with one of the top NGOs, yeah? Or maybe this guy must be a manager somewhere. The way he's dressed, he must be someone. You know, already people are starting to get interested with this someone I should know, this someone I should give a job. Or maybe this person might be having some internship for my brother. You know, you're already positioning yourself as someone who is solutions. But there are people you just see like this, you don't want to associate with yourself. You say, if my mom finds me standing here, I am finished. You know, there are people like that. You just want to wave, you're fine. Oh, you're fine. I'm rushing here, because you don't want to spend even 5 minutes with them, but you're okay talking to them on phone. But if you're to ask, like, can you meet with them? You don't want. That one already, their brand is communicating something. Remember the power of positive team relationships. When you are effectively communicating, you are in harmony with the people around you, the people who are, you may call them at your core. This, you might not necessarily be having a team consciously where you have a team leader, but there are people around you who are part of your ecosystem. These are people you can always bounce ideas to. These are people who you're vulnerable to. You can tell them, guys, you know, Maze, I failed. I borrowed this 10,000 and I have not done anything. The money is lost. Can you guys help me on how I can come about and get out of this mess? Or guys, this is what I'm thinking about. I'm not sure, but can you really help me refine the idea? Or I've come up with this. They will laugh at you, they will condemn you, but you know what? They will do all these things in love. They will show you the way. In our generation, we lack that. We lack those sounding board. We lack those positive teams that can tell us, oh, your idea is rubbish. That thing you are talking about cannot even sell. So just stop that nonsense and continue doing. I find people who encourage people, that you know, drop out of college. You know me, I dropped out of college. And you know, I'm like Bill Gates, who dropped out of college. And you know, it's a very wrong advice, but people always talk about it. Or others say, you know, entrepreneurship is the real thing. The entrepreneurship, if you want, I mean, I don't want to work. I don't want to work for long. And let me tell you, that one is a big lie. They tell you now, okay, if you have 10,000, ununue quails, ama ununue kuku kama William, in 6 months, utakuwa umepata 400,000, 400,000 umeshachukua ka plot mahali. Mwingine anakuambia, enda nunua mtumba ni Mombasa. Ukikuja na bail, kuna zile kamera. In one setting peke yake, ukinunua 10,000, profit ni 9,000. Maze resign. Maze resign. I'm telling you, you will see wonders of your life. Entrepreneurship is not sweet as people talk about it. Birthing anything, even this forum that we are with, I don't know, I'm not talking with Desire to tell me the background, but it takes sweat, blood, and tears to start anything that you can imagine. It can start well and look so successful. After 6 months is when you now start seeing the tip of Mount Everest and say, why did I do this? Anything that you start. And at that point is where you now answer the question of growth. That is the question of growth. And that is the point where you think of positive relationships. That is where you think about the team. These are the team that can really hold you. They don't have to be friends, but they're people who are helping you as you grow. You take accountability into the growth process. Very, very important. The third thing is about conflict and crisis management. In the course of growth, there is crisis, there is conflict. When you're communicating, there will always be conflict. There might be conflict because of issues of age. Like I was just joking with a friend recently and I was telling them that the young people think the old people are fools. But I was telling them the old people know that the young people are fools. Yeah. So sometimes the age difference, because you think, these guys are old school. They want to listen to hear news, to listen to news every time. These are old school things. And you know, that kind of positioning, that's already a crisis. The crisis can also be you're selling a vision to someone and they're not really listening. Or you're not seeing them getting the passion that you have. That is already, so all our lives are about crisis. And effective people are people who are able to navigate through conflict and crisis, leveraging on the power of communication. And this is aspect of leadership. For you to grow, you have to be a leader on your own self. And I like the example of a drunk person and a child. I have a young son, and I've been seeing him, how he has been trying to, okay, he's now walking, but I used to see how he was trying to walk and all that kind of thing. And I really used to compare it with a drunk person. A drunk person, even if it has rained and kuna matope namna gani, yeah? Normally we call drunk person, we despise them and laugh at them, but this person will just continue until he reaches home. And at the point where he cannot reach, you will hear his voice. That is the determination of an effective communication. Why? Because conflict is in everything that you do. So you can choose to ignore, become moody, and keep quiet, but you're not solving the conflict. You have to rise up and address the conflict. And number one thing addressing a conflict is by acknowledging that I am in a conflict mode or I'm in a crisis mode. That acknowledgement, that consciousness is leadership. Then the next thing is, now how do I articulate it? Yeah? How do I communicate it so that the other person or the other parties, it might be even your customers, it might be your teacher, it might be your partner, it might be who, and now start seeing it. Human beings are complex, including myself. Yeah? We are complex. So even in terms of conflict, everyone will be defensive. Oh no, it's you, Mazeo, poured the tea there. Oh no, you will have told me you have put the tea there so that I be careful. Oh, but you should have seen that this place there is normally tea. Oh no, you are careless on how you put your things. So when you start getting such kind of communication and such kind of exchange, you know that you now need to show leadership. Many times we do not show leadership, and leadership does not mean that you're a leader. Your leadership basically means I am knowing that I'm on a path of growth. I am responsible. I am taking charge. I am not being carried out away by the flood. And that is how you are changing the fortunes. The fourth thing is about creativity and innovation promotion. When you effectively communicate, I remember I talked about hope initially, that you are a source of hope, you are a source of solution. You are able to spark creativity. People are able to tell you, hii duka yako, ukijenga kibanda hapa nje, unaweza hata kuuza mboga. Hii mandazi unauza, ukipatia tu watu hivi kwa karatasi, si mzuri. Can you look for something, a brown paper vizuri yenye umebrand, yenye unaweza kuwa unatumia watu? People start giving you feedback. People start enriching your process. People start enriching your life. Anakuambia, if suti yako ni mzuri, but niko na fundi mwingine, anatengeneza nguo na ni affordable sana. Creativity starts coming. Your team starts telling you, this thing we are doing it, but I have a better way to do it. People start volunteering and say, Isaiah, I don't want you to do this. I can be able to moderate these sessions for you. Why? Because I want to learn. I also want to grow myself. I know someone who can come and help you this. That is innovation. The problem in Kenya, people always, when you talk about innovation, their minds immediately start thinking about IT. Innovation is not about IT. Innovation is about system and process improvement. That is innovation. And effective communication does that. And if it does that for you, you're able to become a voice. Safaricom is always in a process of improving themselves. And I know there are many other examples. If you do all these 4 things, it leads you to something what we're calling robust relationship. So it can be a robust business relationship. It can be a robust family relationship. It can be a robust, anything that you can replace with there, you can. But all these things are about relationship. And why are we focusing on relationship? Because in this world, we are a sum total of relationships. And when I talk about relationships here, it's not our usual relationship that gives us headache, the boy and girl that gives us stress. I'm talking about harmonious coexistence with humanity. Harmonious existence with humanity is that you are at peace, you are able to grow, you're able to give value, you are able to attract value, you are able to be able to coexist with others. And this helps, this is built by effective communication. Why? Because it builds trust. And this trust is able now to give you dividends in your business, in your family, in your products, whatever you do, all aspects of your life. That is why we grow. And that is why effective communication will be able to help us to grow. In the next slide, it's more of a reflection. It's more of a reflection, and I use this as a model that mostly to speak to businesses, but you can use this model also during relationships, and just looking at how when you're connecting to people, when you're connecting to processes. There are 3 buckets for those who are not able to see. There are 3 buckets, and in these buckets, we have planted bucket number 1, we have put in the seeds. Bucket number 2, we have the seeds is sprouting, germinating, and we're pouring some water. But bucket number 3 is where the seed has grown into a plant. And one of the questions we are asking ourselves is, at what point do we communicate more? I know everyone will tell me is when at number 1, where mostly, let's say, you are getting to know person, or let's say you want to, okay, let me give the easiest example. Maybe you've seen someone you've seen a very beautiful lady, and you say, Maze, I need to talk to this lady. Now you really want to call them, you have to speak to them. And after speaking, now you start communicating, and the communication is always very high. Or you've seen a new customer that you really want to pursue. Communication is very, very high. But at the end, maybe let's say when the relationship is ending, the communication is not there. Or when the customer, you've already delivered the work, now there's no communication. The most important part where we need to communicate most is number 2, because number 2 is whereby we are able to give these people value so that we're able to retain. And this is normally a challenge even for us who are married. One of the questions we are normally is, okay, you feel like you don't do it deliberately, but you say, after all, now we are married, so we don't need to do those things, we don't need to go out, we don't need to, those things you used to do today, after all, I've gotten this. You don't do it consciously, but it happens that way. Just relax. Or you say, this customer was already pursuing, now after all, he's already a customer here, so he's already buying. But you don't know, from next year, they will not be buying. So we don't put a lot of effort in terms of retaining what we already have. And what I wanted to challenge us here is about looking at what you have today. What do you have today? How are you building value on what you have, so that this one can be able to attract, to attract new, but also retain value on what you have today. Human beings are designed in a way that we are always desiring the next. We are always desiring to grow and bring new. We are always desiring that, but you're not putting effort to retain, to be able to grow what we have. Because this retention can help you get referrals. This retention can help you create a multiply effect in what you do. This retention can help you relearn some of the things that you've never known about yourself, but you're just looking outside and looking at new things. You're looking for new ideas. It's good, it's not bad, but can you look inside and say, what are these? I have this house. I'm not using 2 bedrooms. What if I turn 1 bedroom into an Airbnb and maybe be charging people who are coming to this town to come and live here, and I get some income? Or maybe I have an extra, and I have an extra bicycle. I can be renting 1 bicycle to someone, and they use, and that can give me some money. I have something extra. I have a skill that when I'm not working over the weekends, I can be teaching people how to make mandazi, and they just learn from my house, and I can charge them some small fee. But you are saying, oh, if I have an oven, nikikuwa na oven naweza anzisha bakery kubwa sana hapa Nakuru. So that is a process of not only vision, but really reflecting about how your communication grows. And if you already have customers, customer retention is more important than, not really important. The effort that you use to get new customers is so big, even in terms of money, cost, time, than giving value and retaining the same customers, because they will need to renew their allegiance to your business. So that's something that I just want us to reflect on. And perhaps you could have even other thoughts along those lines, but it's a point of really just reflecting on it. Now, the other part I wanted us to look at is the how. So we are pursuing this process of effective communication, and we are looking at how can we do it. We have looked at the questions that we need to reflect on. We have looked at why we need to grow. And all these things are still pointing us to where we started from, and in terms of unlearning, learning, and relearning. I'm seeing someone asking about the slides. Yes, I'll share the slides after I finish. I think you'll get them through Isaiah. I'll share it with them because I don't have individual emails, but I can assure you you'll get them. So when we look at communication, there are always two aspects at any given time. There's internal communication and there's external communication. And that is the question that I wanted to bring to you in terms of answering the how. And why is this important? You must know who are your internal stakeholders and who are your external stakeholders. Because these stakeholders, they all have their preferences. Remember, we talked about preferences. These stakeholders have their own uniqueness. These stakeholders, in terms of value that you give to them and the value that you're getting, it's different. So you have to know them so that you know what you're giving to them and what you expect from them. And this is not about business. This is just about usual life. This is a normal day-to-day life. There are things that you can tell to your family. There are things you cannot tell to external people. That is how it is. So it's very, very important for you to, first of all, understand who are your stakeholders so that you can target them effectively. If you're working in a company, there are things which can only be discussed in your company, cannot be discussed with external stakeholders. And it's very important why. The point that I want to draw about in all this is that for effective communication to happen, you must plan it. You must figure it out. You must be deliberate about it. Most of the time, I think there's communication breakdown because most people are not willing to be deliberate about it. They want it just to happen all by itself, and definitely it does not work. So you will either crumble down or you'll either not participate and you end up maybe bringing conflict, or you end up not getting value, or you end up losing a client. You know, such kind of things normally happen. So the main thing that I'm talking about here is about being deliberate. Plan what you want to say, plan how you want your brand to look like, plan the messages that you want to articulate. And this is not necessarily when you're speaking. We remember we say that the brand speaks even when it's asleep, even when it's silent, it speaks. But plan about it, think about it. Be deliberate on how you want the brand to look. Think about if it is colors. Think about where, you know, many aspects about what you are doing. If you want to start a business for mandazi, where do you want to locate it? Do you want it to be in a kibanda-like? Do you want it to be in a proper built house? You know, do you want to operate from home? And what will your external stakeholders, what will it tell them? And your internal stakeholders, will they be happy that you're making mandazi at home? You know, they may not be happy. They say, you know, you are just seeing you making mandazi, nasisi hapa hatukulangi your mandazi. How is it? You know, so they may be saying at least for every 10 mandazis, you give them 2. And, you know, that can be a conflict already. So the issue about planning is not about, it's not just about being strategic, but it's about managing expectation and being able to manage expectation. Throughout life and all interactions about humanity, people have expectations. And the failure of many of us is that we never manage these expectations. We assume that, oh, it will happen. Oh, we assume that people know. We assume that people will understand. Oh, we assume that, oh, after all this happened and it's like this. No, that's not how it works. And companies fail and rise because of that. And I can give you so many examples in Kenya, how this has worked. So basically it's about being deliberate and also managing expectations. Sometimes you commit to something very well, you have not thought it through and to end. And I meet this many times where someone say, yes, 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 that one, don't worry, just relax, count it done. Only for you to start doing it and discover, God, I've ruined myself. And the other person is relaxed and say, that one, don't worry, Dennis is working on that thing. It will be done. Why? Because you did not manage expectations. We are rushed to commit and say, oh, that will be done. Yes, 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 yes. But you have not thought through it end to end. Think through it end to end. I want to do this. What is required? Who should know? Who should I talk with? And more importantly, what are the aspects of this, what I want to do? What do I have control? Most of the times we make commitments and there are aspects that we do not have control over, but we make commitments through it because you're saying, yes, I want to start this business. I'm sure if I go to Eldoret, I'll meet William. You've not called him, you don't know where he is. But maybe when you're saying that William is in Tanzania, he has gone to buy rice. I have no control over his schedule. So if I am to involve him in anything I'm doing, I must lock him down. Most of the time people don't do that, but they just communicate, yeah, that will be done. But the aspects of that you have no control over. It depends on someone else. It depends on government. It depends on maybe your father. It depends maybe on your sister. It depends maybe on your spouse. It depends maybe on your boss, because you can be asked, oh, will this be ready on this day? But you forget that your boss needs to approve it before it is ready. But you just say, yes, yes, it will be ready. You forget about the approval process, because approval process should also be part of your planning. So do not commit if you're not sure, if you're not seeing end to end. You better say, let me think about it. And when you promise that, let me think about it, also be courageous enough and be gracious enough to come back and say, I had promised to give this feedback. This is the feedback. Or I'm still not ready. I'll give you on this day. Do not just say another day. That one is bad. It kills the morale for the other party to participate. So that is just something that I wanted to share about thinking about stakeholders, because remember, you are relating to other parties. So it's an inter-party engagement. And internal communication also, an aspect of it is about you yourself as a person. How do you communicate with yourself? How do you interact with yourself? How do you reflect? Because one of the things is, I once read a quote that a life that cannot be evaluated is a life worth not living. I read a quote, I don't remember who it was. And what basically is saying that we need to reflect about what we do. We need to reflect on why we are doing it. We need to reflect on how we are doing it. We need to reflect with who we are doing it. Why? Because remember, it's an aspect of growth. If you cannot reflect about yourself, remember the quote where we started with, you cannot, if you cannot reflect on yourself, you cannot be able to create yourself continuously, because we are in a journey of continuous growth, continuous growing. So if you cannot do that for yourself, I can assure you, you will be the same today, yesterday, and forevermore. And the best way to do it is not to make many things. You just pick one thing and say, this year or this month or this week or this, whatever the period you give yourself, I want to focus on this thing towards the betterment of me. Yeah. Read books, connect with people, be deliberate in terms of connection. Yeah. This person has started a successful business. I really want to connect with him because I want to grow with him. I want to understand how he's doing it. I want to understand his failures. But as I understand, I also want to make a contribution to what he's doing, because I've seen there are things, in as much as he looks successful, there's something that I think I can contribute. I can assure you, even the people you see most successful, they are looking for that opportunity of someone who gives them value. And I want to challenge you in terms of how you communicate. When you're in a networking forum, when you're meeting people, do not make an ask. Position something that you want to contribute. If you're looking for a job and you have an opportunity to interact with the manager, don't say, I look at this company and I really want to work here. Do you have some vacancies? Yeah. Or here is my business card. You call me if you need someone who can do sales for you. That's a very, very poor pitch. Maybe sometime later we'll learn about how to pitch. But I always tell people, communicate value. Oh, you're from this place. I've always admired how you are doing this. I would like to contribute to your sales. I had this idea that I think you guys, one of these fine days, you could check on it. Yeah. Or I had this proposal. I'm not sure if it can fit in your business, but it's something that's worth considering. I can send it to you, something like that. So always pitch value. Oh, you say, oh, Dennis, you are doing this car wash, but I think the machine you are using is not what is being used in the market. I have an idea. Why don't you construct a tank there so that you stop using the water from the river? People are always looking at value. So communicate value. Yeah. Even if you have a need and ask, show how you can help them. And if you show them how they can help them, they'll say, oh, we will work with you. I think we can even be partners here. So value, people are looking for value. They do not say it. Even those people you think, oh, these are managers, they have come here, they have opportunities. No, they're looking for value. Because even those managers want to be successful. They want to be shown, oh, while so-and-so was the manager of here, he made this company so great. While so-and-so was the pastor here, he was one of the best pastors ever. When this person was here, he was the best sales pastor. Everyone looks for value. So communicate value. So take a lot of time to understand yourself and say, I'm going to this networking session organized by Pastor Isaiah. But what value am I taking there? You're just going to listen and say yes, yes, and clap and go home. Yeah. Think about something that you make a contribution. As you make a contribution, you never know who is in the room. You never know who is in the room. Making your contribution attracts another value. Value always attracts another value. Why do you think the rich always continue getting rich? Because they have known that secret. Yeah. They have known that secret. And if you look at the big companies, Safaricom, Equity, it's about value and value, value and value, exchanging value. Where they are going, they're getting value. Where they are getting, so it's an exchange of value. So look at value. Even in this forum from today, understand who is attending. How can we connect with them? That's why I really wanted us to introduce ourselves, but I think there was also a challenge for network and all that. But I'm sure Isaiah is looking at it with that WhatsApp group. Know those people generally, know them, and just know what they do. Where you might discover even some of the solutions. Maybe I've used this example so much, but maybe you're a chicken farmer and you're struggling with feeds, and maybe the person who has feeds makes feeds is just necessary, or someone who can be making feeds but has never used that opportunity is just close to you. So some of our solutions are around us, but because we do not communicate, we continue carrying our problems and thinking maybe this person The person who has my solution is in somewhere in Bahamas. Akikuja tu Kenya hivi, your solution yangu imekuwa sorted. And maybe that person will come to Kenya, but you will not know. You will just be hearing, so and so alikujanga Kenya hapa April. You mean alikuja April when corona ilikuwa mingi? Yes, alikuwa Kenya. I've missed an opportunity. So that's how life happens, unfortunately or fortunately. So make value of that connection, make value of communicating yourself. Communicating yourself is basically reevaluating, reflection. You know, there are times I talk with Pastor Isaiah and he tells me, oh no, we cannot speak. I'm somewhere else because I'm just refining. I'm thinking about what I'm doing. I know that always challenges me so much because I want also to think, it challenges me to think back and also say, oh, by the way, I should also do this, you know? And it's not that it's a perfect process, but just take one thing and say maybe how I show up in meetings, how I speak in meetings, how I go to town, my time management, you know, these are all communication aspects, how I write, you know, my comments at Facebook are so bad. They're not inspiring. They're not showing me. Mtu akisoma comments zangu hata Facebook, sidhani anaweza taka tena kuongea na mimi. Reflect and say, from Facebook, me, I'll just be talking about farming. Nakuwa naambianga watu juu ya farming because mimi hiyo story ya kuku nimeiendelewa kabisa. Though I failed on it and nini, I know how it works. I know something I can share with someone. Then you meet someone else who had failed and say, oh, I also identify with that. But me, I changed this way and this way. Say, oh, I can also change that. And you know, that is how you connect. That is the value. That is the value we're talking about. Why? Because it started with a personal process of internal communication. So remember, internal communication is about you and also the internal communication about the team, the circle around you, you know? Those people who you can tell them, Maze, I failed. Maze, niliomba pesa, nime misuse. I wanted to start this business, Maze, but nimeenda Mombasa, nimeogelea, nimerudi. Maze, do imeisha, I can't do anything. I can't even face the people I borrowed the money with. What can I do? How can I make right with them? You know, those are the people you also internally communicate, because I see people going to social media and saying things, this happened, things which they should not be communicating to everyone. Because, you know, in social media, people pretend that they are empathetic, but they're just looking for your failure. The day that you post something negative, you will see you have like 600 comments. Ukiamuka asubuhi unajiuliza ni nini imefanyika. You know? They look for two things: the day that you are successful and the day that things are not. But if it's normal post, no one cares. But the day that you have failed or things are not going well for you, they just say, but just commenting. But the day you also succeed, many people are saying, we are happy for you, but in the real sense, they're not. They're just saying, that one, you are anajisikianga sana. Anajisikianga, it will not last long. But they say, I'm happy for you. We are so happy. We are so happy. But why? You have to understand your stakeholders, understand your internal stakeholders, understand your external stakeholders. Now, all these things is what I've been talking about planning. Have a plan always. And by having a plan this applies in every way. Is about looking at what strategy do you want to use to communicate, what is the vision you want to communicate, and more importantly, break it down into actionable tasks. You know, don't just have an aspiration that you cannot break it. Ukiambiwa uanze kesho, huwezi anza. But the plan is so good. Lakini ukiambiwa anza kesho. You know, there are people who tell you, hey, mazee nataka kuanzisha business ya transport hapa. Nikikuwa na motorbike kama 6, nakava hii town yote kabisa. Nitakuwa nachukulia watu parcels, napeleka. Mtu anakusikiza, alafu anakuambia unaweza anza kesho, niko na 2 motorbikes. Unasema mazee, itabidi kwanza nitafute ofisi. So, as we come to an end, I want us to think about that communication is intentional. Communication must be planned. Are we together? I will not touch on these other aspects because I've already built on them, and I've talked about you have to be objective, think about the target audience, you have to have a method and that kind of thing. So I won't really repeat on it. I'll just finish by one thing that I need us to talk about, that in all your communication, think about three things. I know we are pursuing things to give us livelihoods, but I've talked about people, but also think about planet. The planet is your environment. How are you being in harmony with your environment, your immediate environment? These are things like how are you doing, like labda wewe mtu wa kutembea na unatupa tu ball gum, unatupa karatasi hapo, and you know umevaa suti, those affect your brand. Those ones affect your brand. And when you're able to be in harmonious with this thing, the value can come to you in terms of profits. You can be able to monetize it. You can be able to gain from it, and you can be able to make a livelihood from it. So I think I'll come to an end from there and make a very important summary, and says that what we have always believed, that your work is the work that you do, or the business that you do. But the truth is that your work, together with what you do, is what contributes ideally to what you are. And this is where your purpose meets. And that is how you help to define your value. So I'll pick up some questions, and then we can call it a day. And thanks so much for engaging. And I look forward to engaging with you in the coming forum. So I'll just end with this quote, that every ending is really a new beginning. So as we end this, let it be a beginning of the real you as you work towards unlearning, learning, and relearning. Thank you.
Wow. That is amazing. Dennis, thank you so much.
Most welcome.
This has been very eye-opening for me. Very, very productive conversations, very enriching, very eye-opening. I think everyone that's on this set has learned so much today from this talk that we have been having. Well, if you have any questions for Dennis before we call it off, we have about 5 to 10 minutes to engage. If you have any questions, I would like to open it up for anyone. You can just unmute yourself and say something, or you can just write it down there, and Dennis will be able to read it and then respond. Or you can also give us a feedback on what this session has meant for you today, and we shall be able to take that. So if there's any feedback, I'd love to get that happening. And then I'm going to give an announcement, one or two, before we come to a close. Kindly do not leave until we are done, which will be in the next 10 minutes at least, so we can be able to end together. So if you have any questions, please put them down there, pen them down, or just unmute yourself and talk. I think Dennis would love to get some feedback, or also to get any questions. And also we can have a part 2 of this. If there's still aspects of communication that Dennis has not yet shared, I'd be glad to actually have him on set again to continue this conversation. So let's see, any feedback that you have, anyone?
Yes.
Yes, Jabi, huh?
I really want to extend my appreciation to Dennis for taking the time to, take us through, the topic for today. That was very transformative. I think, like he said, we have a lot to learn and also relearn. I love the fact that he was very practical in giving examples that you could actually be able to grasp. Yeah, there were very practical examples of our day-to-day life, and I've been able to see some of the mistakes I make in communication. And I could picture myself in scenarios, where probably, as he was mentioning some of those things, I could actually place myself in situations where I've made similar mistakes and probably didn't know that, some of these things were mistakes. But I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. That was amazing. We need a recording for that. I think I just need to have a sit down and rewatch it again and get to pick out some very key information going forward. And I hope in a day to come, I'll be able to share that this is what Dennis shared, and this is how it has transformed my life and impacted my communication to be effective. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate.
Awesome. Awesome. Anyone else? I see so many people pouring out congratulations here at giving feedback at the chat. Sally says very productive conversations. Thank you very much, Sally. Dan is saying, amazing, be blessed, sir, such an eye-opener. And indeed, Dennis, this has been an eye-opener and an eye-opener for us. The person using Infinix Hot 10 says, thanks a lot, Dennis. I have learned a lot. Thank you so much for being on the set as well. And William says, thank you very much, Dennis. Thank you also, William, for being on set as well. And Dan says, my gratitude to the host and the co-host. Yeah, we are happy that you joined in and that you could be able to participate. Belinda says, thank you so much, Dennis. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Amazing. Well, anybody else who still has any thoughts, or before I ask Dennis to, maybe I'll give one announcement, then I will ask Dennis to give us a parting shot before we can pray and then come to an end. So anybody else who wants to say something, maybe you can say it now, then I'll give an announcement, and then we are going to have a parting shot from Dennis, and then we will call it at night.
Hello, Sally here.
Hello.
Yeah,
yes,
I'm really grateful for this session. I think I've really learned a lot, especially on personal branding. It's something I used to take seriously some time back. I just laid back on it, and I think it's very important. And also internal communication, what I say to myself and what that depicts out to the external environment. I just have a lot to think and rethink through this conversation so that it can really make sense in my personal growth. Thank you so much, Dennis, for finding time to be part of the set and to give us such informative skills. I'm so grateful personally.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other person as we come to a close? Anybody else? Okay, so you want to say something? Anyone? Good. So I'll give an announcement, and then we shall be able to receive a parting shot from Dennis. Is that okay, Dennis?
That's fine. That's fine.
Good. Now, quickly, let me share a screen with you. This is the, I'm just sharing, I hope you can be able to see it, but I'm sharing a screen with the
So sorry, I think we've lost. Oh, I think he's back. Okay.
Sorry guys, I think my internet is really acting up. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, you are back.
Sorry, my internet is really acting up. I feared for it during the entire session, but it's acting up towards the end. Now, I was saying I was sharing a screen which is the poster for what is going to happen on the next week. So on next week, on Wednesday, we will have Douglas Angogo, who is the husband to Njambi, who was my co-host today. Douglas will be talking to us about relationships, what you need to know before you start dating. So kindly forward this as much as possible to any young person that you know. And even those of us that are already married, please let's join in and add our voices in mentoring the next generation of husbands and wives next Wednesday at 8 o'clock in the evening. So kindly pass this out to as many people as you know that can join in and can, you know, just be a part of these trainings, and we shall be grateful for that. In the meantime, also just to encourage you to please remember to support the platform. Like I said, we don't charge this platform, we don't charge anything on this platform, but to be able to keep the platform, we challenge you to participate in supporting it. So you can send 100 shillings, or you can send 50 shillings, or 5,000 shillings according to your means to the number that I put up there, the 0712 052 810, or you can use the till number 5959211, 5959211. Just let us know that you are a part of this, and we'll be able to be very grateful. So if you want to support in any way, kindly you can use those numbers and let us know. And if you in case you use the till, if you use the 5959211, the till number, please send a message to 0712 052 810, so I know that you sent any money there, and our accountants will be able to work on the same. Now, kindly also send me a message on that same number, 0712 052 810. Send me a message there with your email address, and I'll be able to send you or forward to you all the slides that Dennis will pass on to us from this sharing. And if there's any other information that we have, we'll also be able to forward it to you on your emails, and of course on WhatsApp. And we'll be able to add you also on the WhatsApp platform, so that you are able to participate effectively in the trainings in the days ahead. So I think I'd love to leave it at that for now. I'm really looking forward to the next session. But before we call it a quits for today, I want to ask Dennis, first of all, thank you so much for coming on set. You are actually the first guest that we have had on this mentorship Manna. And so, I mean, what a nice way to begin the training. So we are really happy that you came on board. Thank you so much. God bless you and your family for taking the time to invest in our lives through your expertise. Kindly give us a last word, and then we shall be able to pray together. I've seen some of my team members are here. Sally is here. I've also seen Belinda here. Kindly, Sally, you can say a word of prayer as we come to a close. So Dennis will give a parting shot, and then Sally will say a word of prayer as we come to an end. Thank you so much, Jambi, for participating and also for helping me to co-host. Thank you so much for your input, and I'm looking forward to have you and your husband in our next week session. God bless you. Karibu sana, Dennis.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's such an honor to be invited to speak in this forum as being the first speaker. I'm very honored for that invite and the privilege to be part of this, to share and to speak with you. And I hope we shall continue engaging. My parting shot is just what we started with, that you are here to create yourself and do this continuously. And do this by unlearning, learning, and relearning. Don't forget that if you forget everything that we said. Thank you very much. Be blessed. I enjoyed being in part of you this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dennis. God bless you. Sally, kindly help us with one for us with a word of prayer.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you so much. We bless your name. We give you glory for this session that we've had. We thank you, Lord, for every life that has been represented here. God, we bless you that this information is going to touch and change our lives and transform us into what you really desire that we become. I bless you, Lord, because of every person who been part of this. I bless you because of our speakers and our hosts, Pastor Isaiah. God, we honor and we bless you because this is becoming a great movement that is causing impact to the lives of young people and even the people who are in the world at large. We honor you and we bless God as we retire to our beds and to our homes. Father, I pray that your protection cover us. In Jesus' mighty name, I do pray and believe. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Kindly remember to send me the messages. God bless you, and let's see you in the next class next week. Enjoy some music as we come to an end. I'm sharing a screen here with you. You can enjoy some music together with us as we come to a close. So thank you so much for being on set. God bless you.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful evening.
Okay.